Hey, welcome in, Cinema Night Podcast, late night style. Travis Roy, Michael Govier, Eric Brancham, Uncensored Raw. We're doing Just Friends. Does it hold up or not? We'll find out. Nobody knows, and no one has the answers. That's what we'll get to in our main event. It's always the main course. You hit us up at cinema9pod@protonmail.com and tell us about your favorite color. You can tell us how you feel about this movie or any other movie, really. We're open to all movie discussion at any given time. It's a free country.
Yeah.
Right, Travis?
It is. It is. I mean, whatever country you're listening in is probably a free country.
It's true. Yes. Eric Branstrom, do you agree with
that? Yeah, sure, Michael. So what the heck is going on, guys? This is a late night pod. How are we feeling? We tired? Is it bedtime?
Just getting started.
Yeah, it's 9:05 Eastern Time, live and uncensored. I already did a podcast earlier, the Is It Safe pod, and then working on some other stuff here. Yeah, I'm actually really excited for Licorice Pizza. It's coming soon here. We're about a week away, and we get to go see it. I really, really, really want to go see it. I'm really excited about this one. I have a really good feeling about it. For the first time in a few years, Paul Thomas Anderson may have crafted something very exciting, accessible, fun, entertaining, heartfelt, all the things he's known for. I'm pretty excited about it.
He's known for being accessible?
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you seen The Master? The reviews have been fucking fantastic. This might actually get me into the theater for the first time in 2 years.
Wow.
Yep.
It's been that long.
Yeah.
It's been longer than that. It's been 7 years for me.
You haven't been to a movie theater in 7 years.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Paul Thomas Anderson movies in particular. That was the last time I went to see his movie in the theater.
Gotcha.
Inherent Trash.
Oh.
Ugh. Did you walk out?
Jesus, I walked out.
No, I finished it. I sat through the whole thing.
I had the luxury of watching it at home, so I was able to turn
good
it
for
off.
you.
Turn it off at home.
I was able to turn it off and not feel like I was invested, and I was pirating it, so it was like a double win.
But I love PJ so much, but I didn't even really see Phantom Thread until a year after it came out. That's how much I was like, what's going on? I maybe I was a little overreactive in that respect, but Phantom Thread didn't really move me that much either. It wasn't terrible, but I was just like, what's the point of this story? Why am I watching this? So.
Wow. You have to bring it on the show and remind you about how unbelievably good it is.
Well, I should watch it again. Absolutely, I should. That's part of what we do this show, right?
We've already had this debate. I feel like, you're outnumbered, Eric.
Okay. Speaking of being outnumbered, what are we doing today?
We're doing Just Friends. Yeah.
Okay.
There's also, there's another movie in the theater that I really am motivated to see. There's a couple. I'm actually surprised. It's Christmas season, right? Yeah. I'm not really into sports movies that much, even though I like sports, because sports movies are usually just so poorly done, but I'm mildly interested in seeing Zachary Levi as Kurt Warner in the American Underdog story, which comes out on Christmas Day. I just kind of want to see how it's done, because some of the human beings that are in that movie that in real life are fascinating characters, and if they portray it right, I don't know if I'll go see in the theater. I guess that's probably an exaggeration, but I'm interested in that one as well.
Who the hell is Kurt Warner?
That was so funny.
What? I'm serious.
Who the hell is Kurt Warner?
I don't know who he is either, but I sure like Zachary Levi.
That's so funny. I don't even know how to answer that other than he's a Hall of Fame quarterback who was a bagger at a grocery store, came out of nowhere, wasn't drafted. It's a rags to riches story. In 1999, he came out of nowhere and he won the Super Bowl with the Rams, like totally out of nowhere. It was a very unusual story. So that's why they're probably making a movie about it. It's also the guy who has given a lot of audio clips that are fun. There's one particular I've always really enjoyed. I would like to share with you now.
I feel like one is coming.
Well, I mean, I could. It's about bagging groceries. Yes.
It's funny because you talk about because you start laughing like we should just automatically know, but it's like there's stars of dressage. There's the big judges in the dog. The dog show world, you know what I mean? And to me, the people you're talking about, it's as foreign as that. You might as well be talking about sumo wrestlers.
That's actually a point I'm going to bring up in our quarantine viewing pick section, actually, about a movie I watched. So it's interesting that you bring that up, or it's coincidental at the very least, but notable, very notable. This is the clip that I would.
Thank you, Jesus.
Oh yeah, I mean,
That is.
I say that because of you.
That's Kurt Warner. He's a big Christer too, so that's important. That's also probably why America likes him. So.
Oh, okay.
And he was from Iowa. Iowa, Christ. Reasonable human being, I guess. Nice guy. That's how it works. So, anyways, I'm not that excited about that one. In fact, I kind of feel like I overhyped it now.
Doesn't sound like the stuff of Hollywood.
I feel like I was thinking of something else. Is there another movie? Anybody else? I mean, Christmas movie season big. Is there anything that you guys are excited to go see besides Licorice Pizza?
I'm kind of blanking off the top of my head.
Me too.
I know that there's that Meryl Streep, Leonardo DiCaprio comic.
Oh yeah, on
here,
Netflix.
but that's coming to Netflix. Yeah. So I don't need to go to the movies for that. It's coming to Netflix. But I'm looking forward to that one. Don't look up
in the air. Don't look up. Okay.
That looks pretty good.
Yes.
I didn't know we were going to talk about this. I would have looked over, what's coming out. But there's some stuff coming down the pike. That Denzel Washington take on, is it Macbeth? Right?
Tragedy of Macbeth, A Nightmare Alley. I might get out there too if I can.
Yeah,
I said that to Leanne, and she said that sounds like the worst movie in the history of the world because she doesn't like scary movies. I'm like, no, it doesn't mean it's scary. It's just Nightmare Alley. It's got a lot of great actors. It could be scary though. It is Guillermo del Toro. So
yeah, I'm excited for it. It's I don't know. I love that.
Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you, Guillermo.
What about is the new Spider-Man limited release tonight or is it out?
Oh, it's out. That's what I was doing.
Are you serious?
That's why we're having a late episode.
Okay.
I was watching Spider-Man No Way Home.
Wow.
I got a ticket,
that is fucking hilarious. You sly dog.
I'm a sly dog. I've missed a few Marvel features, and you guys said I didn't tell you what I was doing. Just like, are you down for a late start? And you said sure, and I'm like, great, and I'm going. Yeah. I went.
Wow,
you did.
I did.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Intriguing. Very intriguing. All right. Do you feel good about it? Can you say that at all? Or?
Well, should I just get into my my quarantine viewing picks, I guess, and start with that?
Yeah, that's perfect segue, actually. Yeah.
So, I watched Far From Home to ramp up for it because I've seen that, of course, but that holds up pretty good, and this is a pretty capable sequel. I got emotional during it. I liked it. I have positive feelings about it. I was underwhelmed in some ways, in other ways, but overall, I thought it was pretty fucking great. And the culmination of a lot of, it felt like Avengers in some ways. It felt like a lot of things coming together. And no spoilers, but as someone who studiously avoids previews and hates previews, I didn't see a single fucking preview for this movie. And the first post-credit scene, by all means, stick around for. If you hate trailers like I do, the after credit scene is just a trailer for Doctor Strange 2. So I was kind of annoyed at that. I got up and stormed the fuck out. Like, what is this? You just show me all the shit I don't want to see. Yeah, they hadn't pulled a fucking maneuver like that in years. It's been since Thor 2 since they pulled some shit like that.
Wow.
Yeah, I wasn't thrilled with that, but I was pretty thrilled with the movie. I imagine a world where even because it was all spoiled for me, even though I hadn't seen any of the previews. But
the Eric Brancham.
No, it's just I live in America. I go on Twitter. I knew a lot of what was coming, a lot of the actors that were in the movie, and it should have been a movie that had the audience cheering every time somebody showed up. Instead, it was me and the dude next to me, and that was it. The audience was very quiet. Quietest opening night. I've been to a lot of opening nights for Thursday night Marvel movies. This is the quietest one I've ever seen. I don't think people disliked it. They were just quiet. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna follow your lead, Mike, and not plug my other podcast much. But I did start another podcast with a friend of the show, Chad Gibbons, who's been on here. So by all means, check out the Best Film Podcast with Chad and Travis, which is not to say we are the best film podcast. With us, the best film podcast with
you're the best
Chad.
Of all time. Is that what you're saying?
No. We're just the best film podcast
okay.
that features Chad and Travis, and also we talk about what we think are the best movies of every year. And we thought the title was funny. So for that, I watched Pig because I'm ready to say, even though I haven't seen it, we were talking all the movies coming out for 2021. I have a hard time thinking I'm going to like any movie more than I like Pig. from this year. So I did my first episode, or like we go back and forth, but he and I. But so check, and if you are looking at us out or checking us up, like I can't speak all of a sudden, but type the whole thing, because you just type in the best film podcast. You're gonna find a bunch of shit that ain't us, and that'll probably be the case for a long time. But man, Pig it was my second viewing, and my God, I'm ready to call it a masterpiece. I think it's the film of my favorite actor's career. I mean, it's so incredible. I love it so much.
I completely agree. I watched it. Remember, I finally watched it the first time, and then I watched it again because I was so moved by it, and it's definitely one of the best movies of the year, without a doubt.
I liked it even more the second time. I was even more moved the second time, which is rare for me, you know. It's interesting you were too. Yeah, so I loved it. I took a hand at a few Christmas movies and didn't have a ton of luck. I revisited Four Christmases, which was fine. I checked out 2014's was it Joel Swanson's Happy Christmas? The most Christmassy thing about this movie is its title.
Happy Christmas. Friggin' Christmas?
No, just Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas. Okay.
Yeah, it's literally the most Christmassy thing is the title. I mean, like there's a stocking in the background of one scene. Eventually, the Christmas actually comes, and I'm like, oh, right. And had it not been that, I would have probably appreciated it for the mumblecore that it is. But I was like, I'm ready for a Christmas movie. I sit down, and I'm like, what is this? I ordered French toast, and you've given me, broccoli soup. So
and a Kendrick serving you broccoli soup, and you can't go wrong there.
Yeah, I mean, I like the movie. I just was kind of like, what the fuck? But on the other hand, it would beat the shit out of the next Christmas movie I watched. They at least had some Christmas songs in it. But someone thought, let's take Michael Shannon, okay, and Christmas and Bigfoot, and put them all together into a Christmas movie. Oh, and furries, like the sexual have you, and bring them all together into a Christmas movie. Isn't that a good idea? No.
Great idea. I love it.
It wasn't. It's called Pottersville from 2017. I'm gonna recommend that. Despite some surprisingly good cinematography, like it just looked good. It was, and in the cast, it was not worth checking out. Did you see it, Eric?
No, I had a hard pass.
It's a Christmas movie with Michael Shannon. I thought it was worth a shot.
Thank you, Jesus.
No, thank you, Jesus.
No.
I'm watching a couple of movies with my students because it's like the last week before Christmas break, so everybody's mentally checked out, especially me. So with my government's class, I'm revisiting, which I'd seen a couple times, but it's been a long time. 1976's All the President's Men, which the kids, they're 10th graders. They straight up told me, like, we would totally be bored by this were we not watching it in class. I'm like, yeah, I know. But I'm loving it. And it's interesting, like pausing it periodically and talking about it and giving these kids like the background context and all that kind of stuff. So it's fun. Cool. It's fun digging into that world. And like, there's even like one kid who just keeps on being like, oh my God, journalists are amazing. Like, look at them. They're like smarter than the cops. Look at them. I'm like, yeah, dude, journalists are fucking amazing. Like, maybe planting the seed, who knows? And then also, I've been wanting to see this movie for a long time, but it's never streaming anywhere because it's such an American classic that they know people like me will eventually buckle and either rent it from the library, I guess, or pay the $10 from Amazon Prime, which I did. And I'm showing my my students, which I've actually still got the very end to finish, but it was one part of the movie I've seen before. But like this week, I've been watching with my students The Grapes of Wrath from 1940, which like I've never seen it either, dude. I'm like watching it with the students, like trying not to get emotional and shit. Like I'm like, oh man, this is fucking really good. And I'm watching it like it's interesting watching it. I'm watching it 2 hours in a row. I'm watching it first hour and second hour. So I'm like, so I'm like picking up stuff the second viewing that I didn't see the first time. It's weird to watch a movie in chunks that you've never seen before in like a block. You know what I mean? Like repeating that same block twice, because I'm going to do that tomorrow. I'm going to watch the last 15 twice.
Damn.
But it's really good. It's really, 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 really good.
Is it worth renting it from the library where every movie from the library smells like armpits and onions?
Where everything is yellowed.
It's worn and yellowed. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That was none of us, for the record. If you're listening, that was the drop.
That was this guy.
Yeah, there he is. No, it was
boy.
fucking great. Grapes of Wrath. What can I say? It's the
I
Grapes
gotta
of
watch
Wrath.
it. I guess I
Right.
never read the book. I mean, I did the Cliff Notes. I'm sure back in the day. So.
Same. I mean, I just knew it was a classic. Never read the book. Nothing. Figured
Dust
it was time-
Bowl. Yada
Yeah.
yada yada.
So turns out there's a reason why they didn't make any other Dust Bowl movies. The same reason they haven't made a bunch of Titanic movies. Well, actually, they started making like other Titanic movies, but you know what I mean. There's one Titanic movie. There's one Dust Bowl movie. This is it.
Oh.
Oh,
Is that all, sir? After you slam the water.
That is what I watched.
Your closing statement. Well done, sir. Beautiful. That's what Travis watched, and those are some of the offerings. Let's see what Eric Branstrom, as he takes a sip of red wine. Red wine.
is UB40?
That is UB40.
That was definitely the
UB40.
UB40 version, or is
Oh,
that
yeah,
original
yeah.
by them?
Neil
I don't know.
Diamond. Neil Diamond.
No,
original.
Neil
Oh,
Diamond. Yeah, but that
yeah.
I mean, it brings to mind.
Oh,
UB40, man.
yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes maybe they should have just stayed true to themselves, you know?
Besides, you don't have to show off for Jamie. Just be yourself. Be yourself. Be yourself.
An important message for all of us from
Be
Julie Haggerty.
yourself.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you.
Haggertyisms.
Yeah, go ahead. Haggertyisms. I like that.
You know what? I forgot to mention it on the show, although I did post about it. Old Henry, man. If you like westerns, it's fucking fantastic. From 2021.
Oh, Henry?
It's called Old Henry.
Oh.
Tim Blake Nelson gets a leading role in this dramatic western. It's fucking superb. We got Steven Dorff doing excellent work as like the bad guy. I love the film. Brutal, meditative, brilliantly scripted. Remind me of like early Coen's, like Blood Simple. A little bit of No Cunch, but like very purposeful. Western.
No cunch.
No Cunch.
Is that what we're doing now? All right.
I'm down. I like
No
it.
I like it too.
Yeah, No Cunch. Blood Simple. If you like those, check out Old Henry. It's fucking fantastic.
Gotta make sure you enunciate the ch in that one.
Yeah, you really do.
No Cunch.
Important part of it.
You know what? I went back and watched The Rocketeer. Like I remember seeing
Oh,
this.
shit.
Like
Still haven't seen this either.
You were supposed to watch it.
I
Were
know.
you?
Shit. I said it like 10 times when we did the DV Sweeney. I kept mixing it up with fucking Fire in the Sky.
yeah, take a pass. Like I remember seeing this in the theater, like when it came out. I remember being so bored in the theater, and then I like watched it on Disney Plus, and I'm bored out of my mind, and I'm thinking to myself, like, who was the audience for this movie? Because like the Rocketeer himself is just a really like dull character. It's like before like we were able to make Marvel movies, we had to like deal with like comics from the 20s, like the Phantom and the Shadow. And they're like, I don't know, Rocketeer, this design looks kind of cool. The movie's boring. I don't get who the audience is. Like kids were bored, audience didn't give a shit. So
And this guy got the role. He ended up being just that guy,
Yeah.
though. Billy
it's got
Campbell. We don't.
Billy Campbell from like Days of Our Lives. So boring.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Oh shit,
Yeah.
Travis!
So
This is
bland.
directed by our old pal. Did you know this?
What, Paul Schaefer?
Joe Johnston, Spielberg Light.
Remember we
Schaefer.
talked about. Me and Travis talked about Joe Johnson in depth once at his apartment when we watched the original Avenger, Captain America, because he had done that and it was so bad at the time. Although it's kind of grown on me over the years, but at the time it was terrible. And I'm like, why does Joe Johnson get these opportunities? He's not very good usually.
Oh,
so.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't get it.
The film was kind of nicely made, and I like Joe John. I like Honey, I
That's what he
Shrunk the
does,
Kids.
though.
But
That's what he
they're just
fucking
like-
does.
They're just so generic. Like
Yeah,
Spielberg Light. They're
yes.
just so
That's why
generic.
we don't like Joe Johnston.
That's it. Like it's adequate. He's a filmmaker. He knows how to
it's-
do the job, but there's just nothing there
Yeah.
unique. There's nothing
Yeah.
special. Yeah.
Clock
Okay,
puncher,
sorry.
but he did design Boba Fett back in the early 80s. Yeah, he designed. He was a designer at ILM. Finally got around to seeing the Night House.
Well, then-
I've been waiting on this because
Yeah.
I like Rebecca Hall and I love like slow burn horror thrillers. Whew. I was fucking let down, man. I can dig slow burn, but like when it's like really obvious, but it's also laborious.
Laborious.
It was just a slog fest with nothing new. Laborious. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Hated it. Yeah, I can't recommend it. Close for the Storm is this documentary that takes a look at how Hurricane Katrina impacted Six Flags New Orleans, and it closed before the storm and then never opened again. It's okay, like as a look at how this horrible hurricane impacted businesses, but like in the grand scheme of things, like the film fucks itself. Like 20 minutes in, after they're done talking about like how it opened and it was fun and people were excited, then they get into like Katrina for like a half hour. And by the time they try to circle back and act like we would give a shit about this dumb amusement park after like thousands of people are out of their homes or
Yeah,
dead,
exactly.
like who gives a fuck about this roller coaster? Let it sink. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, it's one of like 8 of these things, or these amusement parks. Like they're doing fine. Why would they like?
I don't know.
That doesn't make sense.
I don't know. Yeah, if you're into like urban, what do they call that? Urban
Yeah,
spelunking
or urban
Yes.
exploring or something.
discovery or
Yeah.
urban exploring.
Urban
Right.
you might be kind of interested, but it was very distasteful how they were trying to make this seem just as, simpatico with this tragedy. Not very good. I was surprised. Netflix surprised me. You know how they churn out these TV looking movies that are just blah. The Unforgivable, the Sandra Bullock thriller that just hit. Sandra
Yeah.
Bullock, D'Onofrio, Viola Davis, John Bernthal. Yes, John Bernthal again.
Right.
Fucking fantastic. Sandra Bullock was Oscar worthy. I loved the movie. She plays this woman who goes to prison because of this traumatic event that she had a hand in, and she's released, and she sets out to find her younger sister who's since been lost in the adoptive system, the foster care system. Really powerful character study that I highly recommend. And I've been tough on Netflix, so I'm going to let loose a little bit on them because this was fucking fantastic.
Yeah, I meant to mention last week when I watched Jane Campion's The Power of the Dog that also did not look like a Netflix movie. They're capable of doing it right.
Yeah. Last but not least, man, like I let my obsession with 70s disaster films kind of taper off last year after the Poseidon Adventure and the Towering Inferno, both that I love, but I'm back with Airport 77. Like in the 70s, they made like 3 movies called Airport and then just changed the year. Loved it. Loved Airport 77. We got a massive cast: Jimmy Stewart, Jack Lemmon, Christopher Lee. They're all like trapped in this airplane that's been like blown up by terrorists, and it's just a lot of fun. Like, how are they going to get out of this situation? The star power is out of control. It's like these very like macho 70s men, but like not in a yucky way. It's just like really good, strong actors doing their thing. Loved it, man. A lot of fun on Tubi.
Didn't know I had
Can't
that
wait
kind
to
of,
watch 70 and 75 later on.
That's awesome. Yeah, didn't know I had that kind of cast.
Incredible, man. Lee Grant, Olivia de Havilland, Darren McGavin. Awesome.
Matt Wilson says The Unforgivable was awesome.
Solid film. How about you, Mike?
Oh, me.
Your turn.
Let's see here. I watched. I did it. I finally did it, Eric.
Oh boy,
If you could read my mind,
Dude.
no.
It's been like a year of him plugging
wow,
this.
dude. Were you emotional?
I finally was able to find it, and I've been sucking off, and I hate this. I really don't like this at all. Of Amazon Prime. It's free though. I'm canceling, and I'm not paying a dime. So fuck you, Bezos. And I took advantage of it. I watched If You Could Read My Mind, the Gordon Lightfoot documentary. Beautiful, wonderful documentary. It's very Canadian because he is Canadian, and it's funded by Canadian people. So if you don't like that, you might not like it. But I think what's funny is Alec Baldwin shows up in this, and he's like talking about Gordon Lightfoot like they're best friends. It's just a very strange time for him after what happened recently, and he's like talking about Gordon Lightfoot in this way. It's just weird. That was the only thing that like threw me. I'm like, what the fuck is this? But the guy is a complicated dude, really, really hard worker. That's what I got from it the most. Like, just the songwriting didn't just come. It wasn't just some natural. Like, he grinded his ass off on this songwriting and this guitar work too. A really, really good guitarist and very, very meticulous about how he kept his guitars in different tunings. I didn't know that, so I found that interesting. It's like interesting stuff about him as a musician, and then of course, you know, being a scumbag and all that shit too, and being a massive alcoholic. And in fact, you see the pictures of him in the video of him, and he just looks so fucking different. He's just like, boom, life hit him really hard, and he's a Skeletor now, man. I hate to say it, but
looks like that old dude in Poltergeist 2, The Other Side.
yeah, dude.
The Haunting
Yes.
Caroline. Julian Beck.
Julian Beck.
It's frightening. It's a bit frightening. I feel bad, but hey, that's the price you pay, I guess. So it's been a good life, he said. He said he wouldn't really change much, except maybe some of the drinking, of course. So I did it. You're right. It was very good. I love Gord. I'll always like Gordon Lightfoot. So.
Oh, yeah.
Underrated Gordon Lightfoot song of the day, Black Day in July, about the Detroit uprising in the 60s. Really, really well done. It's a very up-tempo song, too. It's not slow. Strongly recommend that one. Black Day in July. It's really good. I discovered it a couple years ago, and I'm like, oh, shit, this is a great song. All right, and this movie really surprised me. I always ignored it because of the title, but I like the people involved. Jeff Who Lives at Home.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen it a couple times.
What a surprising film this was to me. I didn't know it was a Duplass Brothers effort. I found that out when I started it, when I read about it. But then the way this film goes and what it's about, it's very, it's a fascinating look at people caught up in their own shit, and then life kind of hits you in the face. I really enjoyed it. I really thought it was a lovely film. I did.
Yeah, I think it's an underrated movie. I think like sitting down to watch that and like Our Idiot Brother back to back would be like a really good companion piece.
That's so funny. That's exactly what I think of too.
Of course.
They came out similar times. I actually feel like they mismarketed Jeff Who Lives at Home as kind of like a doofusy comedy, possibly, because it has Ed Helms in it too, and he's so big from The Hangover at the time. Mm-hmm. That's a misconception. It's more than that, much more than that. Susan Sarandon's involved, and you never even know that until like you start watching the movie. She's very much a part of it in a very touching, kind of odd but beautiful storyline.
Go back and watch the Puffy Chair, the one that got the Duplass Brothers on the map. Also fantastic. It's like $0 budget, and it just caused this huge stir. Mumblecore, but it's fucking fantastic.
Mumblecore. Judy Greer's been in every movie for 10 fucking years straight.
At least 10 years.
If it's an indie movie, Judy Greer's in it.
If it's a movie. If it's a movie,
yes. Yep. Yeah, that's
we're hitting
true.
all the big. We're hitting all the big fucking society. We're hitting all the big ones today.
Yep.
Yeah, well, it's just naturally occurring, I suppose. All right, so I knocked that out. I'm proud of myself. Thank you, Michael. I watched a Christmas movie, and it's called Not Just Friends. We'll get to that. So, we'll wait on that.
Wow.
So they call this one. I didn't call it. I didn't write it. It's called All Is Bright with Paul Giamatti and Paul Rudd. Has anybody seen this?
Yeah, I've seen it.
I was not aware of this film at all, and very speaking of low budget. I mean, there's just like two guys in a movie, really, with some Christmas trees mixed in.
Yeah, two guys on the side of the road. Most of the movie takes place it's got the cheapest shooting conditions ever.
Where do they? Is that really in New York? Do you think they really found that spot? Because it's a fascinating spot.
Yeah, I would guess.
I mean, it's not in like Manhattan, but it's in New York City somewhere around there. So, anyways,
it's all just in a lot, basically.
That's it.
I remember there was competing Christmas decorations movies going with All Is Bright, and then Deck the Halls with Broderick and Danny DeVito. Like, what was?
I think that's a much different film than this one.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. All Is Bright has nothing to do with Well, I mean, it's about Christmas tree salesmen. Like that's what it's about.
Oh, well, that sounds interesting.
It's really about thieves. It's about thievery.
Yeah, it's about con men, I should say.
Yeah. It's Paul Rudd trying to really fire up his French Canadian accent in this movie. So not bad. That's right. I watched The Intervention. This is a movie about it's again like mumblecore stuff here. I guess I was on a mumblecore run there. I guess I went down a wormhole, and it's about a bunch of couples that try to bring a couple out to a weekend excursion to get them to be divorced because they can't take standing around them. They can't be around them anymore. Colby Smulders is in this. She plays one of the female side of the couple that they want to break apart. I don't know who the dude was. It's not bad. It was mildly entertaining. I would recommend it though. Definitely check it out. So doable. All right. I remember this movie came out and I was like, what the fuck is this? What's going on? It seems so weird. It was an amalgamation of a lot of people and like everybody's in this movie, but I never saw it. The Big Year, Steve Martin, Jack Black, Owen Wilson, and like so many other people are in this movie. This came out in 2011, and I never saw it, but I watched it now, and it's basically about birders, people who try to watch the most birds in a year.
Oh, yeah.
And I enjoyed it. It was good, man.
It's
I
like
really
rated
like
G. It's like
there's no
friendly.
It's not trying to be. It's just no swearing, really. It's just an adventure. It's got Rashida Jones in it too, and Rosamund Pike, and so many people. Anthony Anderson. It's just filled with people that just pop in. I think Corbin Burnson is actually in this. He plays like one scene as a helicopter pilot. That's it. There it was. Corbin Burnson. He's gone. It's a fast-moving movie about a bunch of different birds. I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. It's not cheesy or anything. It might be a little bit to some, but I would recommend The Big Ear if you never saw it, especially during the holidays. It's a decent kind of, hey, let's hang out with the family movie.
All right.
Yeah.
Kind of sweet.
I watched Dickie Roberts, former childhood star. Fucking terrible, of course. So just
it wasn't
just
one
so
of the
you
good
know.
ones.
Come on.
Now, David Spade Joe Dirt has been enjoyable over the years at times. We've covered that in a previous episode. If you want to go back and check that one out, we found out it didn't really hold up. Of course,
that's what I was thinking. I'm like, well, I thought we
not very good.
Screech is dead. So Screech is in this movie a bit. So if you want to see Screech for a second, that's all I got. The movie sucks otherwise, though. I watched La Bamba again because I just can't help myself.
God, yes.
Again,
incredible.
We really are. This is just the Golden Greats episode for all our hits.
Rosie, open the door. That's for you, man.
Here, let me see my goddamn kid. All right, Ladybugs, a 1992 movie, Rodney Dangerfield and Jonathan Brandis.
Ladybugs.
I used to watch the shit out of this movie, and I had not seen this in 30 years. I'm not going to bring it to the table for this show, but I wanted to recommend it. Go back and check it out if you'd like to see a movie that is very bizarre, very, very bizarre. Rodney Dangerfield's constant manic, anxious energy. I never would believe that Rodney Dangerfield was a comfortable man. He just seems so like filled with anxiety his entire life. Even that wasn't a shtick to me. I really believe that's who he was.
I think he actually was a really comfortable man. There's like numerous stories about him greeting people and meeting people naked.
With his dick out.
With his dog, just letting it all hang out. Like first time meeting you, here's my dick. Like I think he's a pretty comfortable man.
I didn't mean Jonathan Brandis on this set hanging out with Rodney Dangerfield every day.
Yeah, he dresses up as a girl on the girls' soccer team. That's Jonathan Brandis. And then when he has to explain it after everything goes south, that's when the real hijinks starts. So that's all stupid as hell, of course. But it was cool to go back and see that movie because I used to watch it on HBO every day for like a year straight there in 1993, I believe. And, so the point I wanted to get to then, A Merry Friggin' Christmas with, what's his face, Joel McHale and Robin Williams, one of Robin Williams' last movies.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Wasn't bad. I'd recommend it. It's not as vulgar as the title sounds. It's just about families that don't get along, which is very common. That's what family is half the time. And trying to figure it out and work through it. And The Legend of Bagger Vance. I never saw this. This is a sports movie.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, God, help us.
Oh, whoa. Am I in trouble?
I mean, what'd you think?
I thought it was all right.
Oh, it's kind of legendarily not great. I mean, I
really?
I haven't seen it since it came out. And when it came out, I was pretty young, but I didn't care for it.
It's about an 80-year-old golf story. So it's not the most exciting premise. I can see that. Robert Redford directed it. So that gives it credit, but I thought it was okay. I thought it wasn't terrible. I thought it was somewhat intriguing. Will Smith is a happy-go-lucky caddy. The thing that was weird about it, though, and maybe they were trying to avoid this on purpose, but I don't know why that would ever happen. Not a hint of racism. And this movie's set in Savannah, Georgia, in a period of time where he's a black man in golf. Mm-hmm. I mean, Augusta just lifted some of their racist membership rates or membership rules like 10, 15 years ago.
Correct. You're getting to the heart of the problem.
Okay. Okay. That's what I thought. I was in my own mind. I didn't have anybody to talk about it with, but it crossed my mind many, many times.
Yeah. I think it crossed everyone's mind many times to watch the movie. It's kind of like, oh, was this an alternate reality? Like what's
Yeah.
I guess maybe I'm confused. I thought, like, isn't Will Smith like a ghost? Isn't this like the magical Negro, quote unquote, like 101 spotlight?
Oh.
That
Okay.
too.
Yeah.
There's been that phrase has been tossed around a lot with this movie. But again, I haven't seen since it was new. I shouldn't sit here and talk like I know it.
There's a good concept there about, trying to overcome PTSD and war and stuff and destroying ourselves, self-sabotage. So I get that part of it. But what I just said, obviously, that you backed up is you can't just ignore that. That's not really, especially if it's supposed to be based on a true story with real golf legends like Bobby Jones, who really was one of the greatest golfers of all time. You start to get in some situations there where it's like, what's going on here?
We're about to talk about a really fucking white movie, though.
Yeah, we are. Oh, sure we are. Absolutely. We're going to talk about Just Friends in a moment here. Last movie I wanted to get to the point you meant earlier. We talked about Kurt Warner. Blue Chips, 1994 Nick Nolte movie about college basketball. Nick Nolte plays a head coach who's struggling and he needs to do something extra to make his team better because people are starting to exert pressure on him. And this movie is directed by Billy Friedkin. I had no idea.
Right. Yep, Billy
Friedkin.
Like, Blue Chips.
That was a Bill.
Yep.
Yeah, shit. I was really surprised because I remember this just being like a sports movie from the mid 90s. But I was like, William Friedkin directed this? And it is a very serious movie with Shaquille O'Neal and Penny Hardaway, NBA star. Yeah,
How is
Shaq's in this.
acting?
Actually, in this one, he's not trying to be Shaq Fu or Kazam or anything like Shazam. Is that what, Kazam? Kazam?
No, oh,
yeah. He's not trying to be any of that stuff. He's actually just trying to be a. See, he knew how to play a college basketball recruit because he literally was one, so it wasn't really a stretch for him there. All he had to do was dunk the basketball a lot.
Does Nick Nolte yell at any point in it?
It's so funny that you say that. Because this is the pinnacle of Nick Nolte screaming. It's the Hall of Fame.
God, yeah.
It'll never get better than this. If just for that, I would recommend watching this movie. But more than anything else, JT Walsh is in this, and anytime you get JT Walsh in a movie, I'm ready to go. I'm down. And he plays the scumbag, quote unquote, like booster guy who's funneling money that he's not supposed to be doing to players.
Right.
But what's actually funny now is 25 years later, he looks like the good guy. He's portrayed as the villain in this movie, but now it's like, yeah, you guys are really screwing over college athletes. They don't get anything. And this guy was right. It's kind of strange flipping reversal of roles now that the movie has aged in a way which we always talk about on this show. So I found that to be really fascinating. So I'm strongly recommend Blue Chips if you never saw that. Go check it out. There's more there than you might think is going on. So.
Cool.
All right.
Okay. I'm done. Sorry. I watched a lot of movies. Apologize for that. It happens. Anyways, it's the Cinema Night Podcast. Thanks for joining us. 5-star review is a great way to give us a wonderful gift for the holiday season, no matter what your flavor of religion or spiritual journey is. We're all here to support each other and share and give back. And we try to do a show every week to give to you guys. And if you could find it in your hearts to give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast, I feel like that's a reasonable social contract. What do you guys think?
If you want to help the show out, in any way, you don't even have to leave a review. Just click that 5-star.
Wow. That's true. You don't.
Spotify announced today that they're introducing a rating system finally for their podcast as well. Yes,
finally.
Are you shit? Really?
I shit you not. Their Twitter announced it today.
Fantastic.
So please rank us on Spotify extra.
Oh my God! This is this is huge news to me.
Yeah, it's big news.
Holy shit! It's been a busy day. I don't know. Life happens. Life finds a way.
Not really that surprised. I don't know why I said that.
That's great news. I'm thrilled. Yay, Spotify. Thank you. Okay, good. Competition is healthy. Yes. Amazon, not competition. All right, let's get into it. The main event.
All right, oligopoly.
There it is.
Man.
Oh, fuck. Here we go.
Okay.
Beautiful song. This is a beautiful song. It's written for the movie Just Friends. I mean, if you don't you don't have a heart. It does.
Sounds like
of the green sleeves.
Jamie smiles. It sounds a bit like green sleeves. Yeah, I see that. Takes me mine. Hey, when Jamie smiles, man, it's just
from where I the don't speak. I like the don't speak chord progression. I call plagiarism.
It does. That's good. That's good. Wow, they might have ripped off a lot of shit on this movie. Anyways, Just Friends, 2005 movie starring Ryan Reynolds, Amy Smart as the main two cogs, Anna Faris in a hilarious role as a pop star like Britney Spears or something, I guess it's fair to say. This movie's supposedly set in New Jersey, mostly filmed in Canada, though, actually. That's why the cold weather actually makes sense, because it's freezing, and it's supposed to make it seem like, oh, it's East Coast, there was a cold spell or something. So, not that you care about that, but Travis Roy, have you ever seen this movie before? Do you recall this film?
I have seen this before, and I do recall the film because I like Ryan Reynolds. I would say, quite a bit, as most people do these days. There was a long spell of my life where I strongly disliked him. And if you know me, there's not a lot of actors where I'm like, ugh, I don't like them. But like,
I remember it well. I remember it well. That's how long we've been friends. I remember.
I fucking hated him for a long time, and I refused to watch this movie. A big plastic fucking fat face. I refused. And but I think it was sometime when we were living with each other, one of the times we lived together, you and I, Mike, that you convinced me to watch it, and I did, and I laughed, and I liked it. I don't remember exactly the circumstances, but I watched it a couple times since then, and had not watched it for a long time, though. I mean, it'd been quite a few years until last night. So, but yes, I very much have feelings of you tied up in this, but also like, this is one of the movies that did help bring me out of my Reynolds hating shell. So
that worked out well then. That's great. Yeah, you were I remember the strong, when you take a stance, sometimes it was strong back then for sure. So that was one of those stances. I don't know why. I just remember that very clearly. Matt Wilson says, you guys are doing a great job and are hilarious as always. I hated this movie. Happy holidays. Okay. Well,
happy holidays, Matt.
Matt, thank you so much. Season's greetings to you. Eric Bransham. By the way, and Chris Klein's in this movie. Chris Klein. We'll talk more about Chris Klein, but this is the second movie, at least, that Chris Klein has been starring in, and I think he's actually a pretty decent comedic actor. But we can talk more about that later. Eric Bransham, what about you?
Lord knows I hate Ryan Reynolds, with this very small exception of Mississippi Grind, and that is it. That's the only leeway I give him. I can't stand him, even to this very day. So in 2005, we got a Ryan Reynolds movie, plus it's about, it's about my history and all my romantic relationships, the friend zone. So it was not for me at all. We got Ryan Reynolds, and it's about a dude in the friend zone. So I clearly didn't see it in theaters. It's my first viewing last night. I got a lot to say.
Uh-oh.
So are you saying...
I'm not just going to trash Ryan. Look, Ryan Reynolds he's the poor man's Jason Lee. He's Jason Lee with abs. That's all he's ever been to me, period.
Oh, wow. That's an interesting comp.
Whoa. Don't do that. Okay, don't do lunch. Why? That's like the express lane to the friend zone.
I think that's a unique position to take. What is it about Jason Lee and him that you find so comparable?
The same, they got the same deal going on, the snarky confidence. That's it. They kind of look alike. It's snarky, smarmy, prickish confidence, good looking.
I mean, they're two white guys.
I could kind of see some of the delivery of some of their comedy. I think
expectations the same, but
I could kind of get it now that you say it. No, I never thought about it before, but some of the delivery.
But when you come out of the gate with Van Wilder, which is
which I will forever hate.
Character.
It's terrible. We all know that.
Everyone knows it.
It's all up. It can be all uphill from there, but he's still climbing for me.
Well, the first thing I ever saw him in was The Alarmist, which really wasn't bad. Stanley Tucci comedy from 1998 or so.
Oh,
and he was pretty funny in that. And then fucking. The piece
Van
of
Bozo.
Van Bozo came out. But these days, come on, man. Deadpool, of course. I don't know. I think he phoned some stuff in, but I think he's fun. But anyways, Mike, do you remember the first time you saw this movie?
I certainly do, Travis. It was at I believe it was at the Henry House, the second version, year 2 in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And me and Chris Deary watched this movie together many times. In fact, if Chris is watching now, yes, he knows when Jamie smiles, I can get him to sing. He used to sing it right away as soon as I brought it up, and it was pretty funny because he doesn't sing much, but he thought the song was funny, and he thought the movie was funny. So we also bonded over that. That probably helped our friendship grow because we didn't really know each other then at the time. We lived together, but we're still getting to know each other. So I'm glad for that, Chris. Just Friends will always be a special part of our experience. And, Waiting had come out the year of this movie as well. So it was a comedy year for him. I thought Waiting was just hilarious. As somebody who worked in restaurants, just like the one that is created and examined in Waiting, like a Bennigan's, a friggin' Chili's. It's just so perfect. Even though he is just way over the top in Waiting too, and I could see why people would be turned off by him because this stuff right now. His 05 version of Ryan Reynolds is very, super duper sarcastic and quick witted. He's a sharp guy, and I could see why people would be turned off by it. I never loathed him, but in that period of my life too, in my 20s, I probably thought I was like him. Like, oh yeah, he's my kind of guy. Man, we could probably go. I've
argued with my wife Angela many, many times. She's like, "Why don't you like this guy? What is it about him?" Like the closest I can say, the thing about it is like for many years, like funny like comedians in movies were like dorky looking, like me. And then all of a sudden, out of the gate comes this ripped, hot guy, but he's also really funny. So I think it might be a huge insecurity and jealousy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It really sounds like that.
At least I'm admitting it.
We appreciate your honesty.
I just going to point it out if you didn't.
You can't have it all, Ryan. Come on.
But look, the man's one of the biggest movie stars in the world. Shouldn't there be a reason for that? Shouldn't he be good looking, funny, charming, unique and compelling to watch? I think there's a reason. I think there's a reason why the man's risen to the top of his field.
Yeah, and at least there is a reason. And you're right, because there's so many people who don't deserve to be there. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Aaron wants to mention real quick, Eric, you watched First Power 2 the week before you mentioned it. Strange coincidence for such an unknown film.
Great
Strange Power.
Hope you liked it, Aaron.
That is odd. By the way, I'm on the IMDb page here. We're going to do the score, do the rating. I didn't look it up. I've gotten really good at typing the movie in on IMDb and scrolling up immediately, and I never see it. So I'm really proud of myself. I'm getting really good at that. But I also saw this Matrix movie's coming out in a couple days.
Yeah,
I know. I haven't seen one commercial or one ad, period.
I've seen one ad.
Unreal.
This is like a real Matrix movie?
Yeah. It's The Matrix 4, and it's coming out in 2 days.
It's the Wachowskis, or at least one of them.
Holy shit. Is it real? Holy shit. Okay.
Yeah, it's the fucking Matrix. And for some reason, there's very little fanfare.
Well, you know what they say, when they're hiding the marketing, it's because they just want to bury the movie, get it out there, and recoup anything they can.
But they're also putting it out at Christmas, too. They're not bailing from that either. So that is
it's coming out at Christmas. And honestly, there was not a lot of advertising for the first one before it came out. Because I saw it when it came out and knew fuck all about it. It was like
it took the world by storm.
It built world of word of mouth.
Everybody was blown away.
Yeah.
It's that fucking club scene, man. That's what killed everybody in part 2. The fucking giant cave.
Never forget.
Never forget. So what's the score on this one? I didn't look it up. Does anyone else know the score? Because I know.
8.3.
That's funny. That's very funny. Very good.
Whoa.
I'm gonna say this one's like a 6.4. It's a comedy, but it's dumb, and it's not going to be like legendary. But people do like it.
People do like it. I'll say 6.1.
I'll say 6.6.
Okay. Oh wow. You were closest, Eric. 6.2.
All right.
That's barely okay.
I got the thermometer, man.
Yeah. Ugly. Oh boy. Well, now with the thermometer, people have feelings about films, and sometimes they put them into percentages. And Just Friends is no different. It's very similar to all the other movies we do on this show, and that's a 42% for the critics. Of course, this was lambasted by the critics. Not surprised to hear that at all.
No.
Big disparity, though. 71% from the audience. That's a 30% gain. So
yeah, okay.
That's about right.
That's quite a imbalance.
It is. It's definitely. I'm sure we go back and listen to all our previous shows, which all of you can do anytime on your favorite podcast platform or on our YouTube channel, which we'd love to get a subscription from you for. Thank you. But yeah, we do talk about each one on the record, so that we do have a technical existing record of all the gaps for each movie we've done on Rotten Tomatoes. As far as the reviews for this film, Some people were pissed. Some people were happy. Stephen Holden of the New York Times. Now, you expect the New York Times to rip this.
Oh, yeah.
Just Friends hangs its crude, clobbering sense of humor on a dubious theory. It's not a question mark, just period, but dubious theory.
What's the theory that about being friend zoned? I guess.
Oh, okay. Yeah, is that what he's saying? Yeah, I guess that
like you
track.
I mean, I want to go what the theory is though. I mean, like
Can't
the friend
hook up.
zone
With yeah.
is a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Richard Roper said, "Just Friends is just stupid." That's it.
Just stupid. Okay.
Well, that shows he's got a sense of humor, at least. I'll give him
He
that.
does.
Destin should have been active for this one, right?
Maybe Goody Coons too. Where's Destin and Goody Coons? Let's get them out here. Trot them out.
Trot them out. Put them on the gangplank. It's been a while since we've heard from Goody Coons. I feel like it's been several episodes.
Can usually count on Destin.
Yeah. Oh, Roger Ebert was still around. He said the best scenes in Just Friends take place off screen.
Oh shit, that's harsh.
Wow.
The best scenes take place off screen. That's what he said, right?
Yeah.
Ouch. He didn't care for it.
Not seeing a Dustin Thompson review. I guess maybe he didn't even bother for this one. It's
may have taken a
possible.
pass.
Yeah, I know Destin has a sense of humor. I know he does, but
yeah, sure.
The Hollywood Reporter, Kirk Honeycutt, said,
"We got a Kurt Honeycutt. I like that name. That's
Honeycutt.
funny.
That's funny.
Kurt Honeycutt.
Goody Coons and Honeycutt. These sound like Kool-Aid flavors.
Goody Coons and Honeycutt are dead.
Yeah.
They should have done a show together. You're right. What a missed opportunity. Characters switch personalities in mid-scene, forget sights, ignore the obvious, abandon goals, and betray family and friends just because the script demands it. No motivation required. Eric, what do you think of that? That is a harsh review.
Well, it's a lofty statement. I mean, with so many of these one-line reviews, you really need to get into specifics. You can't just toss out something like there's no character motivation. Clearly, the guy wants to be more than just friends, so I can't give that a pass. I got a lot of problems with this structurally and otherwise, so I can't wait to talk about it. I mean, like coming in as a first-time viewer,
there's always this preamble. Like at some point, I'm going to talk about
really
this.
Is.
Well, yeah, we're 52 minutes into the show. Please go ahead.
It's my nerves. So let's start with the opening, okay? I think the movie shoots itself in the foot with this opening. Like the fat face, like fat Rick Baker prosthetic faces is funny. But that's kind of the problem. Because immediately, we're laughing at him too, and we're kind of making fun of him because he's fat and dumb. I don't like that.
I always think, I mean, as someone who has always been somewhat fat, but definitely had some orthodontic wear going on at that time, I'm like, yeah. I mean, that didn't hit me that funny this time. That opening.
When he does the eyes, he looks in the camera. I swear, he's basically winking at the camera. Hey, I'm in a fat suit. It's me.
Yeah.
I'm still sexy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's fair.
Exactly happening. You're right.
Mm-hmm. But everybody shits on him at the party, though. The opening scene is him being shit on, where you start to feel bad. I mean, at least they try to start to make you feel bad for the dude, because these guys are just being so harsh to this guy who gets exposed for the love that he tries to express in Jamie in the yearbook, which is read by her boyfriend, who's the douchebag jock, which is, very standard issue fare.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. They definitely set up early, where I'm like, she knows that he's in love with her. Right. I mean, they're supposed to be best friends, but she's she knows he's straight. She knows that he's not talking to any other women. You know what I mean? And then she, I don't know. She doesn't seem very this viewing. She didn't feel very kind to me as a kid, at least.
Ooh.
She's like, I love you, and then goes in for the kiss. Then like a brother.
That's the thing, man. That's my biggest problem. This is like every John Hughes movie in the 80s where the girl just doesn't get it that this guy, Pretty in Pink. How does Andy not know that Ducky loves her? But she's just so aloof, she doesn't even think about it. The problem with this is for me, if you should establish that she actually secretly loves him too, regardless of the way he looks. That way, we're going to be looking forward to when, you know, destiny comes together and they both can realize that they're in love. Instead, it's this turn, which is, oh, now that you're hot, now all of a sudden I love you. That doesn't happen. Like, people don't. Human beings don't behave in this way. They don't just all of a sudden love their brother romantically because they're good looking. It's just
really 10 years too, though. 10 years is a long time. Shit changes, man. A lot of things go
up and down like over and over again when she sees him.
If anything, like she should be pissed at him for abandoning her and not not explaining the friendship that they clearly had that was super tight. Like, it's dumb.
Okay, well, yeah.
I love you, Chris.
So right now you're doing what I think I've done a lot with my notes. Yeah.
We're friends, right? For sure.
Yeah, for sure. Also, you know, actually get to a different point. I say that, but on the other hand, you know, I as a kid and in my 20s, like I can think of a time or two I was like head over heels with someone, and I thought surely everybody fucking knows. It's so obvious, and it turns out no one knew. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
So there could be that. That's true too.
I thought it really, maybe that's why it struck a chord with me from the first time I saw it, because experiences growing up as a late teenager like him, I wasn't fat. So I don't know why that has to be the focus. I agree. We covered that, but there is miscommunication. There's loss of translation stuff that you just think are so obvious. It's absolutely happened in my real life. So to me, this is not an imaginary tale. Whether it's the guy doesn't get it or the girl doesn't get it, it doesn't have to be a gender-related thing either. It's just a matter of the person and how they are not paying attention to signals at times. They just don't get it. They saw things one way, you saw things another way, and it very much happens. So I found it to be credible because, especially at a younger age, it's just a chaotic time and things are going crazy. And I thought it made sense to me, but maybe I'm a bizarro. I don't know.
Bizarro. But to get back to my other point that I was going to make is that right there. Like, I don't know if it even matters if it's credible or not. Like, this is not, I mean, like you say, the movie literally starts with him winking at the camera. This is not supposed to be a cerebral film. I mean, this is
no,
like the characters are inconsistent for one, people are inconsistent. And for two, like it's intentionally like a dumb comedy. Like it's not trying to be some sort of like, you know, sit here with a pen and paper and study this. Like, you know what I mean? It's not that kind. I mean, it's definitely like a kind of a goofy comedy. So I think we have to like bear that in mind with our analysis, that to kind of, I guess, cut it a little bit of slack.
And the guy he becomes, the guy who moves to the coast and he gets into great shape and he's obsessed about it. And it's really much a part of his experience at that time. That's people do that. They disappear and they change and they grow up and they go into their 20s. This is a 10-year later gap. We're supposed to, whether you agree with it or not, that's what it is.
He definitely does a huge cardinal sin, which is never go back to your hometown 10 years after you graduate and go straight like to the bar where you're probably going to run into all these fucking people. Like you
go to Memories on Thanksgiving Eve.
Go to Lou and Carl's and run into like Chris Harris.
Again, believable.
Like
we have all done that.
They just used a jet to make that happen, a private jet. That's all.
Yeah, it's sad actually though, like that scene, because when you first see what's her character's name?
Jamie.
When Jamie first sees Chris earlier in the movie, she like drops everything she's
Jamie
doing.
Palomino, very specific.
Palomino, right? And she comes running over to him, and she's so happy to see him, and she like jumps into his arms. And that's how things regularly were. And then she sees him after a 10-year gap, and she's literally like hiding from him, not because she doesn't like, not because she's mad at him, because she's embarrassed of her station in life. And
is it that, or moment. Is it because she's all of a sudden romantically interested in him just because he's not fat anymore?
I think Travis is onto that. She makes it clear. She says, "Yeah, I'm living with my parents. I'm trying to be a teacher." She says she's so busted when she tries to hide from him behind the harp. Because,
yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, she also has some shame about which mid-20s. Don't really know what's happening right now. You're trying to make the best of it. That's very common. I buy that.
And also, I mean, like, even if she is like attracted to him now, she's had 10 years to like be like, I was so close to this person and he vanished. Maybe she could have romanticized him well before this point with no idea what he looked like.
That's true too. Yeah. And so let's talk about the other characters in this movie that are fantastic. Actually, the reason I like this movie, Anna Faris is really great in this role as this clueless pop star. I thought she was so funny with her silly songs and her chaotic views, and just thinks that the world revolves around her. She's an egomaniac for sure, but she tries not to express it that way. I just thought she was really, really funny in this movie. And to this viewing, I still feel that way. I always enjoy Anna Faris, especially in this role.
I like Anna Faris a lot. I mean, I think that she's very funny. I wish that I liked Mom. I watched Mom some, and I don't really watch sitcoms hardly at all. But because she was the lead, and I think there should be more films with Anna Faris as the lead. You mentioned what was it, the Play Bunny or whatever?
House Bunny, yeah.
House Bunny.
Exactly what I was thinking.
I watched that one when it came out. Man, it's got fucking Anna Faris in the lead. I'm going to watch it. The only so. I'm definitely with you on that. Is where I'm saying with what I'm saying with all this. But this viewing, I was kind of bummed out by not her performance. Her performance is golden. She's a great comedic actress, but the character itself and how she's treated in the film, I don't know. Because we're supposed to laugh at this out of touch, like awful human being, and she's supposed to like represent because remember he learns at the end, to jump ahead, that like you can't bully or threaten or force someone into liking you, and that's what she's doing through the whole movie. So so there's redemption for him, but there's no redemption for her, because as the movie goes on, I feel worse and worse for her, and feel like there's he's manipulating her I don't know. I feel worse and worse for her as the movie goes on. I feel like she's got she's clearly got some mental health issues. Like she's not well.
Yes. Though.
To me, that's
okay. That's this is not a serious film though either.
Yeah, you're right.
That's being true. Like Freddie and Freddie Got Fingered. Somebody should really sit down and maybe we can solve some of these issues he's having. I love Anna Faris. I almost kind of wish this movie was just about her as this character. Like the plot is just her being on a weekend with her manager, and funny hijinks happen. The fact
am I being punked?
Yeah, the fact that she's interplaying with this supposedly real comedy where you got the big speech at the door with the romantic, it's just kind of it's a waste of her talent for me, and it's just not funny enough. Anna Faris is doing her best, and she's so
ridiculous,
ready to do her thing, but the material is just not that funny. I
can absolutely disagree with you. We're gonna disagree, and that's fine. She's so funny in this movie, and the way she delivers her lines. And yes, Travis's points aside, there's some validity to that. I can see that, but to say that she's not funny in this movie is just
she's being silly. She's being silly, but it's like Tommy Boy versus
songs.
It's like Tommy Boy versus Black Sheep. Tommy Boy is well written and it's hilarious, but Black Sheep is just these two great comedians being noisy and obnoxious, but it's not.
No way. Her timing is what makes her comedy good in this movie. The way she looks at people and the way that she kisses when they show up to the bar after the plane has been stuck in Jersey, this regular old bar, and they see their friends Clark and Darla, who are great side characters too. That one guy, by the way, who plays Clark, I think was in some show I watched a long time ago. He's a Canadian dude. He's funny. He's funny, simple, funny. But she shows up and, oh my God, Clark and Darla. And she's so amazed by them. And then she kisses Darla in this totally inappropriate way. And Darla, that makes me laugh because of the way she says it. It's her timing, the way she does it. And I don't think that would be in a lesser comedic actor's hands. I think this would be a much worse role and probably awful. That's how I see it.
The movie's strongest when she's in it.
Yes,
she disappears.
I completely agree with that.
She disappears way too much. She's incapacitated, and I refuse to believe that this woman would just be chill hanging out in his bed with his little brother and I'm like, wait a minute, she's just hanging. No, she would not do this. She would get up and go.
Yes.
I don't know. I think that she's in the movie a fair amount. Don't get me wrong, but I agree, Eric. I think I would have been much more interested in the movie. I've always liked Amy Smart. Don't get me wrong, but that whole plot line, I would exchange it just to watch these two fight. You know what I mean? To watch the way that he rolls his eyes when he sees her, and he's so unhappy to see her.
That's a movie. That's other stuff is just I love how this guy's biggest problem is that he has to spend the night with Anna Faris. It's this clingy, like very sexy, obviously like lady that like is interested in him. Like that's his problem. Like
Stephen Root forced him to.
Well, she did put him in the hospital the first time they hung out.
I don't care. This made me sound shallow, but I don't care how dumb and annoying she is, as long as she is that beautiful and fun and goofy. I'd be totally okay with this character.
Okay, well, that's more honesty. I will say I laugh when they're together, and I agree. I think you're right, Travis. It doesn't make any sense that she would just be isolated. So you have the younger brother character, too, which I wanted to get to. Now, Travis,
Jesus.
we all three of us have brothers, so we all know the brother experience. Not all of us are the oldest brother or the youngest brother either. We're somewhere in between. But I really just, to me, that is the best part of the movie, too. It's Anna Faris and these two brothers going head to head and fighting with each other and, ow, my balls, and the things they say to each other. Now, there's homophobic remarks made, and that's not cool at all. It's not cool. But I'm going to tell you this. As kids do this shit. It's stupid. They're immature. He's a moron. And brothers say awful shit to each other sometimes, which is not cool. But I found it to be believable in the time when this movie was made in 2005. So,
well, I mean, Chris Marquette's playing a teenage boy.
Yes.
In 2005. I'm not excusing the behavior at all. But I found that less troublesome than Anna Faris's character and the like anti-Asian comments that she was making. There's actually both her and Ryan Reynolds both make she calls a record producer Hong Kong food.
Oh yeah,
at one point,
I forgot about
and then
that.
he makes a joke about Mr. Lee being the Chinese launder,
the dry cleaner,
being the dry cleaner later on. Yeah, so there's it's consistently reminding people that like the group that America's typically been probably most comfortable making fun of for decades has been Asians, and so it's sad to see that. Don't like that, but we see that in almost every film we watch. It does detract, as we've talked about many times. Like it makes it for a rougher view when you go back to watch, and this shit's in there.
That's fair.
What is Chris's job?
He's a
paramedic. Oh yeah, he's a record producer.
What producer?
Is he a record producer? Is he a PR guy? Or is that the same thing?
He's an A&R guy. What do A&R guys do? Don't they do everything?
Audio recording? Is that what
but they're like
for? Arts and recreation.
I always wonder what that stood for too. Yeah,
I have no
A&R
idea.
guy.
It's research and development. I have no idea. Bondage and this and that. I don't know.
Yeah. Who cares what his job is? He just works for the record company, and he's a slick LA asshole. Woohoo! Yippee! But the best part, I enjoy when the brothers go at it, and then I even like the scene. There's a nice scene there when like they are sharing the cookie and they stop. He's like, "No, you walking void." And they're like whispering at each other. And they say, "I love you. I love you." That's cute. I actually find that heartfelt. And Julie Haggerty brings that out of them because whenever mom shows up in any part of it, I dig it. There's so many extra characters in this movie that make the movie better. I don't care about the Amy Smart, Ryan Reynolds connection at all. I really find a lot more fun in all the rest of the characters.
Okay, that is a good point, Eric. I mean, we're basically saying that like all the peripheral shit we are mostly okay with or like, and that the main plot line we're less into. But I mean, it's not terrible. I mean, I think that they have a decent chemistry. There are moments where they have together where I laugh, like when he is freaking out in his car and like doing the thing with his hand, and she comes out and the look on her face when it's just. I mean, it's not what he's doing is not that funny. Although it's her that's funny to me in that scene. But I have again like. That's totally relatable. Who hasn't had a freak out in their car when they did something stupid? On the other hand, like the obligatory like child beating up like children scene that like has to be in every like movie, like every comedy of the 2000s. Everything post Billy Madison for a while.
It's just dumb.
So some of their scenes together I think fall really weak, and also like she starts flirting. We got to talk about Dusty. She starts flirting with Dusty like directly over his incapacitated body. Like, what is that? Like, what is that?
That also, I swear, that's also a common thing. I wouldn't know it off the top of my head, but I bet I could find a few more movies like that from the same period where that was like, like Ben Stiller. And that's what it was. Something about Mary. Remember, he's strapped into the gurney. It's just like shit like that started that. I feel like
we had the clapper in this movie. We had the clapper.
Yep. Clapper.
Yeah, we had a fucking
That's
clapper in the scene.
hilarious.
Like no one's
Thank
ever
you for
used
bringing
one.
that up.
Yeah, there's a few tropes. There's a few.
A few,
Like,
yeah.
one or five.
I like Amy Smart just as much as the next guy, you know. But like the way this character is written, it's like classic, like young first time guy screenwriter that's like trying to write a woman and how they would act. Like every one of her lines is just like in response to something that he is interested in. It's just like classic, like the dream, what the dream girl's response would be to everything that you say. There's no character.
That's an exaggeration.
She
yells at him. She gets pissed at him. There's a big divisiveness between them. She stands up for herself. She says she throws herself at him, and she's like, "Why did you ignore me?" And she gets pissed, and she starts to resent him. And she's like, "God, get over yourself." Because I wouldn't sleep with you in high school. She says stuff like that. So it's not all like that.
In my opinion, they should have. I know hindsight's 2020, but like. You open the movie where she is writing pretty much the same thing that he's writing, and here's his yearbook to her, or her yearbook. You have her write that in his, so like you create some kind of tension, like will they or won't they, like little nugget there, and then like maybe like she's not able to give him back his yearbook, but like from right off the bat that she actually is interested in the same thing. This flip where all of a sudden she's like, oh yeah, let's date, and like oh, you fucked it up, like just does not work at all, and it makes her just this vapid, one note, boring character.
Did you look at the guy who wrote this, by the way? Did you see the name?
Yeah, it's like Randall Tex Cobb.
It's yeah.
Adam Tex Davis.
Adam Tex is in quotes. Yep, which is disappointing.
And Roger Cumbo, the director, dude. Cruel Intentions and The Sweetest Thing, which is the most annoying, obnoxious movie ever made. His track record is not hot.
I did kind of feel like it was suddenly easy and weird. Like all he really had to do to get her to be into him was eat ice cream with her and not be a dick. It turns out, which maybe there's a lesson in that.
Yeah.
Well, hey, the pancakes that were shoved in front of him, he'd lost all this weight. That was stupid. That's not cool to think that this guy's fat and now she remembers. The waitress brings him this huge sugar-filled pancake thing. That's not cool.
He was kind of a jerk about it, but yeah, he was in the right. Well, he was also being dismissive to her and name dropping and all this other stuff.
Yes.
So like
Good Charlotte was referenced in this movie, by the way. It takes you back to a different time in the world.
Good
just
Charlotte.
Good Charlotte.
Back when they were relevant.
I did like that Lemonheads track though. I like that song. In Your Arms.
Oh yeah,
it's a decent track.
Hey, Aaron, Evan Dando. He loves Evan Dando.
Oh, okay. Who is it that does In Your Eyes? Was that the Middle East? Who was that?
Oh, Rogue Wave.
Rogue Wave. Yeah.
It's a good song. It's a good, nice little Chicago.
Nice little Saturday.
Are they from Chicago? I think they're. Yeah. Are they from? I think they're.
Your point isn't lost though, Travis.
Chicago area band. Sorry,
I believe I share it. Like she's immediately down for exactly what he wants as soon as they reconnect after the 10 years. So where's the challenge? Like, where's the tension?
I don't know that it's that clear though.
It turns out though that like the real obstacle isn't his looks. It's now it's his personality. So I guess like before his personality was good, but his looks sucked, and then now his personality sucks and his looks are good. That's not good either, is it? I guess.
What about this going to see? Yeah. What about going to see The Notebook? How do we feel all about that whole exchange?
Oh, every Christmas Eve, the theater by my house shows The Notebook. Yeah,
really?
That and Planet Terror. They have a back-to-back
double feature.
Christmas Eve Notebook and Planet Terror. I mean, what the fuck? Why did they make it a Christmas movie? Why did they make? They could have made it any Christmas movie.
This is where the writing gets bogus, and I'll give Eric credit only on this one because he decides to make this exchange after the hockey event where he gets his teeth screwed up. He's like, I've got to be the biggest pussy she's ever seen, is what he says directly. Yeah. So then what he wants just happens in real life. Oh, The Notebook's playing now because that's what I want? Or it would be playing in theaters. I guess the movie came out in 2004, The Notebook, if you want to get technical about it.
Yeah,
so.
Right.
I love The Notebook. I don't consider it being a pussy thing at all. It's a great film, romantic as hell.
I think everyone likes The Notebook, but that's besides the point. A year after it coming out, it wouldn't be playing in theaters. It's just like a whole year, like 1 year after. It just wouldn't be unless there was some, you know what I mean? Like So it doesn't
All right.
it doesn't make sense for it to be the movie, but that's a
Agreed.
little bit nitpicky.
It's nitpicky, but what about the mom being there? I just want to mention that one part about it.
When she takes his hand, when he sees Dusty she takes Dusty's hand, and then his fucking mom takes her hand. That is rough. Now there is a fucking gay joke right before that just poisons that well, because I can't laugh at that without thinking, because he goes, "This is gay."
Yeah,
and
the two guys,
and then it shows two guys kissing, and it's like, oh, because gay is funny, right? Get it?
Yeah, I thought it was walking a weird line where, like,
Man,
it's like it's like saying this is gay, so they're applying it's a bad thing. Is that what they're saying then? Because I
mean, it wasn't in a positive way. He goes, "This is gay," and he didn't mean like it's directed by RuPaul.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. As
then
well.
the two gay guys kiss, and it's like a joke because like it's
Right.
perverse and weird.
Right. And
Dumb.
then the really, really funny hand holding scene comes, but like I can't think of the hand holding scene without thinking of the fucking poisoned well right before that. So I'm like,
How about the fact that Jamie agrees to go on a date with Chris Klein while she's on a date with Chris?
I hope you don't mind. I invited this man in your house. I'm
that
telling
cool?
you now that he's already in your house. Like, there's a few choices she makes that are more than questionable.
But then he allows it to have. He's it's totally awesome that Dusty came.
Because they're
which
just
is
friends.
his fault for saying that. So,
They're just friends.
Did we cover what went wrong with Chris Klein? Because election, hilarious. And this, very funny. Like,
yes,
what is this guy? He was good.
Yeah, he's good.
He was when he
American Pie.
When he pops his head when they're at that church event with the kids, he pops his head while Jamie and Chris Brand are behind the scenes. That Kurt, would you like to join us in the singing of a carol of our Lord? It's so funny the way he says it, and then he freaks out on him.
Like,
I don't know. He
I'm
just
looking
in
right
the
now.
American Pie movies were his like big breakthrough, but in those movies he's a pointless character almost. There's nothing to be offered or gleaned from that.
I'm sure we did this when, same
With
thing when
Election,
we watched
right.
Election, but I'm looking, and the man's been working consistently. He was in Sweet Magnolias, a TV show last year. He's in The Flash, a few episodes. He was in
Flash.
Benchwarmers 2 in 2019. That was the only thing he did all
no.
year.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
film
about.
wise. So yeah, he definitely has slowed down. I take it back.
He's better than that, though. He's a good comedic actor. If you give him the right material, he really thrives whenever he's given that opportunity. I want Chris Klein to know that. You deserve respect for that, buddy.
I like Chris Klein too, but he hasn't done. Yeah, he really hasn't done. I don't know. Yeah, I guess America decided no, thank you, because I mean, or he's just got like a shit fucking manager. Because to me, I always found him extremely likable, a talented actor, and funny.
You know what he needs? He needs the agent for Domhnall Gleeson. Remember when he was in every movie that was important for 5 straight years?
Okay.
Oh, that guy.
He's Judy Greer's agent.
I know.
That's a good.
I know the
call as well.
problem. He's canceled. He's had like 3 DUI arrests, so he's putting people's lives in danger for his irresponsibility at this age. So we've had enough.
If you got 3 DUIs, you might have some issues at work too.
Might have an alcohol problem. That's unfortunate.
We're gonna
not excusing it.
Okay.
No, yeah, we're speculating a bit here, but
We really are. Now we are way into the weeds on Chris Klein's life.
Guess we're sorry.
But
in the weeds on Chris Klein's life.
Yep,
Yeah.
here we are. Just Friends. The Just Friends episode has gone in the weeds on Chris Klein. But I like this movie because of the songs too. The songs are fun to me. If you can entertain me with silly songs that you create, I'm always into that too. And I'm not even talking about when Jamie smiles, which is just a dumb, repetitive thing. But the Hannah Faris' songs. Yeah, Forgiveness makes me laugh. It's a stupid song. And when she's in the studio, when she unfortunately does the reference to the Asian, cruelty that she expresses there. That kind of.
I wish I hadn't repeated that for the
I
record.
guess that ruins for me now, because she's in the studio with the guitar, making a good point about. She's trying not to be a bubblegum pop star, which she clearly is, but she's trying to be like with the guitar saying, "You guys are assholes. You guys are assholes." That makes me laugh. That always used to make me laugh. But on this viewing was the first time I noticed what she says to the producer, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Well,
are we supposed to dislike her, or are we supposed to like her throughout the entire film? If we're supposed to dislike her, I think it's appropriate. So why wouldn't they do something like that?
You're right. I mean, it is both though. We're supposed to both like her and dislike. We're supposed to laugh at her and Hader, I guess.
Josh Blair got a laugh out of being in the weeds on Chris Klein. Yes. Thanks, Josh.
A deep dive into the personal history of Chris Klein.
All right, wow, we've gone way deep in this movie already for a movie that's not that complicated. Any other final thoughts here before we wrap up and get to our final summation on this episode? Julie Haggerty rules.
Yeah, I mean, she plays the same character over and over again, but it's fine.
It is. Yeah. She's a
Stephen
great
Root could have used a couple more scenes. It's funny.
I guess it's a cameo because it doesn't feel like a cameo. It feels more like a small role that got cut down.
It does. Yeah, like, we're not going to spend this much time in LA. We're going back to Jersey.
Right.
You're right. Yeah, that's what happened.
Or they reshot the beginning. Who knows?
And God, I love Stephen Root, but that's just not a funny scene. Like it's not at all. And they tried.
Oh my God, asshole LA dude.
They really tried with the pants and the lobster and all that. It's just it's like, oof, this is not funny.
He probably looks the same way. Like, yeah, that wasn't my best.
Also, probably not a good idea to have your main character like be sexually weird and aggressive to his coworkers, and then you're supposed to like him for the rest of the movie. I don't know. Kind of a problem.
Yeah, I mean, so he is supposed to be like we're not. I mean, he's not a great guy. Like we're supposed to like recognize that he's not a fantastic guy. He's the kind of guy that will like when that whole opening bit where he's like introducing friend zone, like he's the first person to ever come up with that concept, and guys like friend zone, what is that? I think that
You've never heard of that. Yeah. So stupid.
He's like hitting on the girl in front of the other guy, which it turns out he is just her friend, but still, I don't know. He's definitely not a good guy. And we're supposed to feel like that watching the movie, that he's damaged.
Did you catch a girl from the girl next door in that early part of the movie there?
What girl?
It was a hard kind of a reach find, but I made the connection between her and Chris Marquette because they were both in the movie together. I thought maybe he got her part. She plays the girl. I just don't know why you don't take me seriously when he's at the bar and they're breaking up. Yeah, she was the same girl who's at the porno expo where the guy wants her to look at her boobs.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. It was her.
It was her.
All right. That's fun.
Good for her.
Little Cinema 9 connection, little Chris Marquette connection.
Yes. Chris Marquette's great in this movie too. He's brief, but the moments he gets outside of his immaturity as a teenager are really funny. He's funny.
What? His shrill screams.
Yes, I love that. What? I love his shrill screams. God. It makes me laugh. He's the little brother, and he's trying to stand up, be tough for himself, and he's not going to be able to beat up his older brother, but he's going to try.
When he tases Anna Faris right off the fucking balcony while he's on the phone with him, that's pretty funny. And
the way he dismisses his brother, like, whatever, dude. Like, he locks the doors so he can't get into the bathroom. That, to me, was classic. Maybe they're a little old to be acting like that. I'll give you that, because we probably would have done that at, like, 12 and 13 or 10, but...
Hey, there's a scene in this movie that is so distinctly 2005. You couldn't do it now, and you couldn't have done it, like, 10 years before that, which is the scene where, I mean, you could, but... The scene where he's on the landline and he calls Jamie and his mom gets on the phone, like
Joyce,
like that would have been funny like in the 90s or the 80s because it happened like all the time. So it wasn't it wasn't that embarrassing or funny or out of place. And like now, of course, no one uses a fucking landline. What the hell is that? So like in 2005 though, there was a slim window where like your parents might still actually have a landline. And where you might use it, and your parent, where you could be in that rare situation again, where just wouldn't happen now, and like what I mean.
Remember when your mom would pick up the phone? You'd have to cup like the receiver and be like, "Mom, I'm on the phone."
Or like you'd be like in the middle of talking, like, and all of a sudden,
like just 5 minutes, someone's
like
get it.
dialing, and they're not hearing you yelling. I'm on the phone.
Yeah, it was always farthest way possible in a house too, so it would be really
3 floors.
That.
I was asked by my students recently if I'd ever used a rotary phone, and I confirmed that I had, and they were just like in awe. Like it was like I told them that I'd like I don't know, was a pioneer or something.
Yeah, it took me 15 minutes to explain to my 3rd grade students what a Blockbuster video was. Like you had to go rent tapes. Like if you wanted to see a movie and it wasn't in, you just had to go home. You couldn't watch it that night.
Speaking of deep in the weeds of personal lives, are you giving them like your whole back history?
Yeah.
And
You
from
know,
the years
I was-
1996 to 1999.
I was born premature, but I came out all right.
You tell them when the first time you're allowed to watch an R-rated movie was?
Yeah.
You don't.
Covered
All
that.
right, let's wrap this sucker up. Just Friends.
All right.
I'll go first because I picked the movie, and Just Friends. It's just all right with me. Does it hold up? I guess it's the question we're asking ourselves. Classic. You just always want to try to dig deeper. What does it mean? I mean, we don't have to do that. BBV 14479.
That is a friend of the show's former Blockbuster Video employee number that he just
It is,
messaged
yeah.
us.
14479. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
Managerial code. Yep. Knock out that overdue charge.
Yep.
Yeah, get a disc. All right, that's excellent. I did not know that.
It was
Also-
226-124-15666. We forgot about the 226-124 part. That's the
I
preface.
think Steve just caught up on that. For those of you in the live stream, yes, that's what's happening. Podcast-wise, I'll continue talking now about my experience with this film. It's funny enough to me. Yes, there's some issues that it's not ideal, but this movie's not here to take itself seriously. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be a Christmas movie. It is. It is a Christmas movie enough. It's not just like there. It's part of the scenery. Coming home for Christmas. So whether you agree with that or not, I'm not going to argue with that with you, because to me, this is a Christmas movie, and it'll always be on my list of Christmas movies I want to throw on, because brotherly spats and a bunch of ancillary characters that I enjoy, make me laugh. Good songs that make me laugh. Stupid songs that make me laugh. People who think they are on top of their game, but they're really not. There's a lot of people in this movie who are confused, but they're trying to act like they're not. And I like that about this movie. And I like the fact that it ends with like these 2 kids and 3 kids. And there's a guy, and a girl and another guy. And he gives the cookie to the girl. And the girl turns to the other guy that she likes. And that guy's in the friend zone at 6 years old with his cookie screwed again.
Yeah.
And the thing just keeps on repeating itself over and over again. So I say this movie holds up. It's 2005 for sure, but you can throw it on now and still have some laughs, and still, it's not like super, super crude where you're like, we can't watch this with the whole family. I think it'll fly. So that's my opinion. And hey, I could be wrong, but stick with it.
Okay. Especially that statutory rape scene. You know what? I just saw
That is
it
not
last
fair. You
night.
can't just throw that in there on my ending commentary. That's bogus. Now go ahead. Now you can
All right,
speak
okay,
freely.
fine. I'll go ahead. I want to thank, I actually do want to thank and applaud this film for being as short as it is. I found it to be just a hodgepodge of goofy, played out, cliched sight gags, awful migraine inducing noise, and just blurry characters that are better left to the cutting room floor. Like, Farrelly Brothers can do this sort of stuff right, because they don't attempt to have any heart. You don't have the dumb scene where the guy's like taking the last stand at the door and it's supposed to be like you're supposed to feel something. Fuck.
That's
I don't feel
patently ridiculous,
anything.
by the way.
How so?
The Farrelly brothers always try to wrap heart into their movies. You were missing the point on those big time.
Give me one example right now.
Stuck on You. A stupid movie that like it gets so serious because they like can't. They do that a lot.
Shallow Hal, they're trying to like have
Yes.
a whole message there.
Yeah. I'm
Not
just saying
buying
that
that.
point in particular. But
Okay, I'll look into that. I'm sorry, man.
Don't.
no. Yeah, no.
I do like Stuck on You. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. Terrible film. Doesn't hold up. I hated it.
As you knew you would, but you watched it for the pod, so
Good man.
good man.
I always go in with an open mind, but I'm sorry, it didn't do it for me.
Tone was set 24 hours ago when he texted us.
Yeah.
What is this trash? Is that the quote?
I believe the quote was, "What is this trash?"
Yes.
Yeah,
It's probably 30 seconds in.
I assumed. So sometimes when we do this, I'm like, before the movie's even over, I might be like, this fucking holds up, or I'm like, whoa, this does not hold up. And then sometimes the movie ends and I'm just like, shit, I just don't know. I'm just not sure still. And I got to ponder it and I think about it all the next day, like I did with this one. And then I still don't really know when we start the episode. I kind of go, how did I feel during the episode? And I found that to my surprise, I like leapt to this film's defense quite a bit with you, Eric, and wanted to kind of, point out the good and that kind of stuff. I think a lot of our notes might be kind of similar if we were to compare them. But again, this movie is not trying. It should not hold up to hardcore like critical analysis because it's just not that kind of movie. That all said, there is a I think that I had more of an issue with the problematic parts than you did, Mike, and the inconsistency of the characters and their choices did bother me. Some of the cliches bothered me more than I would want for a film. God, I don't know. I'm just so on the fucking fence with this one. I'm gonna say that I guess it doesn't quite hold up for me. I have strong feeling like I have attachment for the film in particular because of you. If I didn't, Mike, if I did not have these attachments to the film, I think I don't know if I probably never would have watched it, but I think that there's value here. Anna Faris in particular is really funny. And I think that like throwing it on is not, you're not going to hate it if you do. Like, I don't, but does it hold up as a good movie? I guess I'm going to say no.
Well, I understand that turmoil when you're trying to figure out certain movies. They can be very, very challenging.
I just really worked that all out as it was coming out of my face into this microphone. Sorry, but
it's all good. I thought that was actually well thought out. I could see going either way on this in terms of it holding up as well. But Steve says it's not me, it's you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Steve. Happy holidays, Steve. Good to see you, buddy. All right. Well, there it is. Just Friends. Does it hold up or not? Well, you can find out for yourself. It's a dumb movie, and it always will be.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is. Ryan Reynolds approves. All right. Next week, we have a guest. We have Derek on. Derek Myers from Pop Goes Your World, which is a lovely podcast where a Gen Xer goes head-to-head with the millennial, which is Derek. And they talk about pop culture stuff. And if you love pop culture, it's really just an ideal show for you. They just cracked their 200th episode a week or so ago. So good for them.
Congrats.
Yeah. I sent him a quick email and said, hey, great job. Keep it up, guys. And Derek loves movies, big time. In fact, talking with him, he's a hardcore movie lover, and he was really torn on which movie to decide. And I said, welcome to the Cinema 9 world. You got a little taste of what it's like for us every week when it's your turn.
Yeah.
We've had the chance to build a list, so we're lucky in that respect. I did not. I'm very proud of myself, and I take great pride in never interfering with guest decisions. It's very important to me. That integrity will always be important, because he asked me a few times. He's like, hey, what do you think of this movie? I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah.
I won't say a word. You have
all
to
he
make your
knew
own
was
decision.
the 5-year rule. That's all.
That's right. That's right.
Cool.
That's exactly what I told him. So, having said that, I was hoping he gave me a list of 5 movies, and I was hoping he would have picked one of the other ones on the list. He did not do that. The one he ended up picking is Galaxy Quest.
Okay. I think this is a great call, man. This was huge when it came out, and you really don't hear a lot of people talking about it lately. I watched it a few months ago.
I'm going to disagree with you. I feel like it's still in the public conscious.
Yeah, I would agree with Travis. I've watched YouTube videos about it actually. A couple. I've never sat through the whole movie, so I'll watch it.
Really?
Kind of feel like I've seen it for some reason because I've watched I don't know, maybe I've watched YouTube videos about it or something, and there's been a lot of. Maybe it was in some top 10s about, hey, these types of movies are still good or something. I don't know what it was.
It's definitely always in an underrated of all of the 90s or type of list. So
yeah, it's got a cult following.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm obsessed with Sigourney Weaver's cleavage in this movie. I'm not going to lie. That's been a problem.
Strap in. You're going to like what you see.
Sigourney Weaver. Aaron loves Sigourney Weaver, so I know he knows what I'm talking about, right, Aaron?
He's ponying for Sigourney.
He is. Yes. That's a great way to end the show.
It's a good note.
It's a good note. All right. Thanks for joining us. Cinema9pod, protonmail.com. As far as I know, we're just going to keep rocking shows because when we're on break, it's easy to do a Thursday show, right? So
we're good.
Fucking A, Peter, man.
Christmas is on the weekend, so we don't have to worry about that being a problem.
Nope.
And until then, that's it. Travis Roy, Eric Brandstrom. Ta-ta.
When Jamie smiles, I can see for